Stock which has been under tremendous pressure this year has been Kaveri Seeds. That stock is down 50% year to date, and that stock is under pressure today as well, down around 5.5%. To talk more about the issues which are plaguing the company, we have Mr. Mithun Chand, the whole-time director of Kaveri Seeds, who joins in on the phone line from Hyderabad now. Mithun, hi. Thanks very much for taking the time out. First, wanted to get an overall update with regards to what's taking place with Monsanto as well as Kaveri Seeds right now. We do understand that there's a litigation going on, but if you could just give us a brief in terms of what the collections might be and the receivables might be from Monsanto.
Good morning. There's an issue which is in the last 6 months regarding the payment of the royalty. We were paying as per the agreement till 2015, financial year 2015, but for 16, we followed the government instructions. As per the government prescribed, we were paying the royalty. So that is litigated now, that is in the courts. But the recent order which was passed by the central government for regulating the prices for the future, so we see a lot of certainty for the future, but there's a dispute for the financial year 15-16 that need to be settled in the court. In terms of the litigated money with the Monsanto for 15-16 is 66 crores. And we are asking for the refund from 2010, which comes up to more than 200 crores.
Okay. Mithun, hi, morning. So, clearly the market is fearing the worst case scenario. The stock is down 50% this year. Do you think you'll have to make some really large provisions in your P&L account going forward?
No, actually, most of that is already provided in the accounts. And in terms of the balance sheet, I don't think there's any sort of unclarity in that. We have got a very good balance sheet, and we have got a good cash position in the company. We've got more than 300 crores of free cash in the books.
Okay.
So in terms of the business model, in terms of the business continuity, we don't have any threat. Yes, there's an issue between the Monsanto that regarding the royalty payment. That's only for 1 year, that is 15-16.
Okay.
And in earlier days, we were having some sort of an unclarity for the future years, how will the royalty and the prices would vary. But right now, with the recent with the recent central government order saying that they will control the seed prices, including the royalty from financial year 17, that is from June 16. So that gives a lot of clarity for the business.
Sure.
In terms of the business, we don't see much of a...
Let me put it the other way. For first half, your revenue came down from 1,031 crore to 758 crore, and your profit came down from 269 crore to 176 crore. Is that trend likely to be repeated in the second half as well? And going forward, would that be the kind of base number that we'll look at?
More than 80 to 90% of the revenues comes in the first half. So majority of our sale is already done, and we don't see a major impact in the second half because we have already taken a hit in the first half.
For the next financial year then?
The next financial year, we are seeing a growth in between 20 to 25% with the corrected base, and for that we have a lot of clarity. And this year we all are aware that it was all a drought year, but we don't see the stuff of we don't see such years coming forward. This is one of the worst year what we have there in the entire business.
Okay.
So we don't see that sort of a threat going forward.
How much royalty do you currently pay Monsanto, and how much would you like to reduce it to based on the fact that there would be lower seed prices even in 2016?
So earlier we used to pay close to 185 rupees inclusive of tax to Monsanto, and each state has got a different royalty. For example, now the selling price in Maharashtra is 830 rupees, and in Telangana and Andhra it's 930 rupees. So the government in Maharashtra is asking us to pay 20 rupees, whereas Telangana is telling us to pay 50 rupees and Andhra 90 rupees. So like that, we have different royalties for different states as described by as mentioned by the state government. So that's where the entire dispute comes up.
Okay.
Royalty we need to pay.
Okay. Mithun, has the split of Andhra and Telangana impacted your receivables in that sense? And is that an issue that's plaguing you as well?
No, that state bifurcation has not impacted much, and this is the second year we are doing the business after the state has bifurcated. And in terms of the receivables, we have followed a clear-cut policy as our strategy was to make on a cash and carry basis this year. So in terms of the industry, we are very much well placed in terms of the collections and receivables. Most of the receivables are already collected.
No, I tell you why. Because, I'm reading a report from Capital Mind which says that your average collection period came down from 138 days to 30 days by FY13 from FY08 when it used to be very high. But of late, it's gone up, and in H1 FY16, it's gone back to almost 100. So that is a concern.
So basically, the industry norms are close to 80 to 100 days. And that need to be viewed in a different way because we get 30% of our total sales as advance in the month of December, January itself. Whereas in 13, most of our sales were done under advance basis. So this trend will continue, and if you see in the last 2 years, this year, the receivables are much better than the last year. Going forward, these are the trends that we will be following.
Okay. Just coming back to the price scenario right now, Mithun, you spoke about Maharashtra as well as Andhra Pradesh, Telangana in terms of the prices of the seeds being capped. In March 2016, once the central government starts regulating or capping the seed prices, how much do you think your average selling price would be for seed prices? You said 830 and 900 plus right now. So what is an average we can expect in 2016?
So that is too early to comment on, and that the central government will take the decision. But at the same time, we don't see any decrease in the price from 930. In fact, we are hoping to price increase because for the last 5 years, the price has been constant at 930 rupees only.
So you've already made a plea to the government that maybe you would like to see a price increase as opposed to a capping?
Not to the central government, but in fact, in the past years, we have made our plea to the state governments to increase the prices. But last years were all drought years, so the government was not able to help us, but they also are able to consider our plea. But going forward, definitely we see a positive thing positive approach by the government by increasing our prices.
Okay, so Mithun, let me take your, part of your answer where you said 80 to 90% of the revenues come in the first half. Going by that, if I assume that you'll do say somewhere around 900 crore of revenue and say 200 crore of profit in FY16, on that base, what can you assure your investors in terms of revenues and profit for FY17? If you could give a ballpark number.
Yeah, for the second half,
not for the second half. I've assumed the 10 to 20% number only of the first half for this financial year. I am saying for the next financial year, what kind of numbers do you think you can report?
Yeah, sure. I will just correct this thing what you said. I said that for second half, we don't see any profit coming from this level. We see the profit maintaining at the same level because we have got the other expenses. But going forward next year, we see a growth of around 20 to 25% in terms of the revenues and slightly better in terms of the margins.
But what will this growth be driven by, this 20 to 25%?
Basically by cotton and non-cotton crops. In cotton this year, we are down by more than 30%. As an industry, it's down by 20%, but as a company, we are down by more than 30% because of the strategy and the acreage was down in areas where we had high market share. So in those areas, we will be increasing our market share, specifically in regions like Maharashtra, where we have only 8% market share. These are the areas where we are working on, and we are pretty confident to go back to those type of market shares what we had last year.
Okay. So, can you say with certainty that you will not have to write off going forward, Mithun, because that's a big risk. You said that you have provided for in P&L so far, but can you say that you will not have to write off anything over the next, say, 3 or 4 quarters?
Basically, write-offs are common in the industry, and every year we have minimum write-off. But this year, there were a lot of returns in non-cotton segment. That's the reason we have taken a hit in the second half. I mean, in the second quarter. So going forward, we don't see that sort of a year, and we are planning internally to reduce the return percentages. So in that way, we see the write-off percentage compared to this year will be minimum next year.
Okay. Just a quick 3 numbers that I wanted from you. You already spoke about your cash, which is basically around 300 crores. Can you just update us with what your debt figures stand at right now? And also, you mentioned 200 crores is receivable from Monsanto, which would be, I think, retrospectively from 2010 onwards. That's for the company in specific.
Yes. One thing, we don't have any debt, and even we don't have any working capital limits. We have a zero debt company. And in terms of the Monsanto, the amount what I'm saying of 200 crores is which we are appealing in the court to refund the money from 2010. But that's subject to the court decision. Whether we need to pay 66 crores or they need to pay refund 200 crores, that's subject to court decision. So that we can't say it as a receivable. I can say that as a disputed money.
All right, Mithun, thanks a lot for your time today. That's Kaveri Seeds clarifying. Let's pull out the intraday chart of Kaveri Seeds to see if it's made any impact. It actually has recovered a bit from the low point of the day. If you pull out the intraday chart of Kaveri Seeds, yes, it has. But if you see the futures plate, that's interesting because the stock is down 4.5%, the future is down 6.5%. And the problem for this stock is aggressive selling that's taking place in the F&O market. At every level, there's fresh shorting which is taking place. And that's one of the reasons, if you see the year-to-date chart of Kaveri Seeds, it was one of the big stars of earlier years, but this year it's been a horror year. And let's pull out the one-year chart and you'll see the stock down. That's the discount picture, by the way, 5-point discount right now. That's because of aggressive shorting. As you can see, 38% open interest build-up, 7 lakh shares being added. And if you now pull out the one-year chart of Kaveri Seeds, it's down about 54%. More if you only take into account the fall from April. Jan to April, there was a bit of a rise, but from April onwards, we have seen the stock decline. But that's Kaveri Seeds, easily your stock of the day. But let's talk about